Welcome to this episode of Trojan Poetry. This week I've chosen the poem. Mike has not read it. This is by Rainer Maria Rilke, and it is called Moving Forward from 1902. The deep parts of my life pour onward, as if the river shores were opening out. It seems that things are more like me now, that I can see farther into paintings. I feel closer to what language can't reach. With my senses, as with birds, I climb into the windy heaven, out of the oak, in the ponds broken off from the sky, my falling sinks, as if standing on fishes.
All right, okay. You got me, John. Well, I'm thinking just initial things. First of all, that last line threw me completely. I mean, up until then, it feels like, enlightenment and expansion, and he can see farther into paintings. He feels closer to what language can't reach, and then all of a sudden, ponds broken off from the sky, my falling sinks, as if standing on fishes. But I thought he was climbing. So it's like he's climbing to a certain point, and then he sinks, and he's slipping around. It's kind of a weird image, right? He's slipping around on these fish, trying to get his bearings. So I don't know how to read the ending there, because it was so positive. It was like, you go, Buddha. Like, this is great, enlightenment, and then something happens at the end. What did you think?
Yeah, well, a little bit of background. So this is from a book called The Book of Images by Rilke. I had never read any Rilke before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as we're doing these videos, I've realized more and more just how vast the world of poetry is, and just how little I know. Surprise, surprise.
Right, well, no, even just the so-called classics. We did an Auden poem recently, and that one I'm not very familiar with Auden at all.
Yeah, and the more I look for stuff, the more I'm just like, oh, how could I not have known?
Right.
And all the comments were like, oh, he's the most famous, one of the most famous poets in English, and I'm like, well, I'd always heard of him, but I'd never read anything. And I was like, I'll give it a try.
All of his stuff that I've read is really cool like this.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
So he was a German language poet and was born in Prague or lived in Prague in 1875 to 1926. So he only lived to 51. Mm-hmm. But I guess, he straddles that modernist bridge, and it's all a lot of imagery, almost imagistic, right? And this was translated by Robert Bly. But I really liked the first lines. It just had me right at the first lines. The deep parts of my life pour onward as if the river shores were opening out, right? This idea that you have something in you that's just getting bigger, right? And there's something deeper and bigger than just the surface life.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like an introvert being able to feel like he can get it out, whatever he's thinking.
Yeah, and it's just moving. And the idea, the line, I feel closer to what language can't reach. Like, I love it when poets and writers kind of comment on the limits of language, and yet they're using language to try to get to those things. So I love that whole, like Faulkner does it, and some of that. But then the ending, I'm with you. I got really confused about the ending, but I noticed the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines are all end-stopped. Mm-hmm. Right, you have a comma, you have a period, you have a comma, you have a period, you have a period, and then the last 4 break that. And when he says, with my senses, as with birds, I climb into the windy heaven. So he breaks the end stopping.
That's continuous, yeah.
And continue, like almost like the words are continuing right beyond the line.
Climbing up and up and up.
Right, and then out of the oak, in the ponds broken off from the sky, my falling sinks. So I think what I've come to is, it's like the reflection in the pond, right? Like he is climbing into the heaven, but in the pond reflected, he's falling, because as he goes up in the pond, it looks like he's going down.
Oh, cool.
And he's standing with the fishes.
Because the fish in the pond, so as he's flying over the pond, he's looking, it's like a parallel universe, right? And he's looking he can see the fish, and it's like his feet he's down there swimming with the fishes, as they say,
Right.
I climb into the windy heaven out of the oak. I almost wonder if he literally is climbing a tree over a pond or next to a pond.
Well, he's like
looking down at his reflection, right?
Right. Well, and it's not, but it's with my senses. Like, so he's using his senses.
I guess that's true, right?
To climb into the heavens.
In his mind.
Like a bird climbs into the heavens after leaving an oak. And then as he's climbing into the heavens, he looks down and sees the pond that's broken off from the sky. They're distinct, right? There's the
Right.
sky and there's the pond broken off, and the oak is kind of the intermediary, right?
And I wonder if the pond is created by line 2, right? The river shores are opening out. It's almost
I
like
hadn't thought of that.
he's letting himself out, and then as he flies off, he looks
Oh, good
down and
point.
sees what he's created almost out of himself, because he sees a reflection of himself in it, and so he's trying to, I don't know, it's just an interesting way to end,
Yeah.
you know, because if I just see him moving so quickly up into the sky, but
Right.
then to end with the opposite,
Right.
moving back down to earth, I guess.
Well, and the verb of the deep parts of my life pour onward, but then at the end he's standing on fishes, which would be so hard to do, right? I mean, that would be
That's crazy.
so
Yeah.
unstable.
Well, I mean, it's just such a cool image. I'm just, I'm seeing him like bobbling and trying to get his bearings and all
Right.
that kind of stuff.
So it's almost like this dizzying, wow, I'm trying to do this, and oh my goodness, it's completely
yeah,
not freaking me out, but freaking me out,
Yeah.
right? Like,
It's hard to do.
But it's called moving forward.
so it is a positive. There's no
Yeah.
fear. There's no sense of any kind of, which I like you said, this is a very positive mood and sense I get from this, which I really like, because we have done some pretty dark poems. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no sense of fear. I mean, for some people, just like the vertigo that you would get flying
Right.
up and looking down at yourself and all that. But he seems perfectly comfortable
Yeah.
with all of these things happening. So
Yeah, so now I'm really eager to read more Rilke, because really I had always heard of it. He has the Letters to a Young Poet, which I had always
Yes.
heard about. I hadn't read it, but I finally thought, I better read one. And I was like, oh, okay, that's
good summer reading.
really cool.
There you go.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So.
All right, well, thanks for watching. Please join the conversation in the comments on YouTube or on Twitter at Trojan Poetry DGN. Also, check out our website at trojanpoetrydgn.blogspot.com.